Hello and welcome back to another Coach Dave Academy lap guide video. My name's Bart and today I'll be taking you for a lap around Virginia International Raceway in the FIO4 car. Here's my hot lap. All right, heading down the main straight now at VAR. Not really a straight, but as far as we're concerned, the only thing that really matters is keeping the car towards the right-hand side of the track here, trying to reduce the distance. As we move over to the left-hand side of the track now, braking for turn one, make sure you get to the white line with at least a car length to spare at least. Ideally get here a bit earlier, so somewhere near this the 3 board would be good to make the white line. The white line's also not perfectly straight, so that's also why I want you to get there early, because you could easily come in from an angle, brake with it, and it kind of brake onto the grass, whereas the white line kind of comes in towards you a little bit here. Brake point, the 1 board is a really, really good reference. You're basically braking just before that if you're really, really late and a bit brave. Similar to somewhere like Zandvoort, you get a bit of an uphill, downhill into just an uphill around where you're pushing braking, especially if you're really confident in the brakes in this car. So you can get a lot of reward for being like 5-10 meters later, because all of a sudden you're starting to go uphill again, as you can see here. Very hard hit of the braking, so you're almost hitting max pressure. Especially now that I'm going uphill, there's a lot of grip in the car. Turning just as I go past the last boards on the right-hand side, just pointing the car in, down to 3rd gear. You see just kind of getting a straight line brake into this point until I get slowed down. Off the brake now in 3rd gear. You can hook it on the lower part of that curb. It's not absolutely crucial. It can help turn the car. The setup I have here rotates quite well, so you don't need it. But if you have a really understeery car, especially in the fixed setup, you might need to hook your right-hand side tires to try and get the car around the corner there. Might work quite well. Something else to consider is if you're making that inside curb too easily, as in if you're making it about here, then you're probably not pushing the entry enough. Like, you need to brake later and gain some more time there. So think about that. It is quite a long corner, so you'll get punished for being early, because you'll just end up playing with the throttle or not doing much in the middle of the corner for a long period of time. Anyway, the other thing that's kind of interesting about this corner is there's a strange camber to it, or change in tarmacs here. You can see this part, this colored part here. If you go over that, there's no grip. Trust me, as someone who's locked up in like Porsche Cup car and stuff and gone wide here, it is atrocious. There's actually some dirt out here, which is pretty nice. But if you go over this, you used to lose grip. And even if you get on throttle and try and use all the track, it's crap on the exit. So just be aware of that. Can't run any wider than that. See, I'm trying to hold the car just within those lines and just about where the rubber is here. This lane, let's say, of the track, don't go on that. Just don't go. I know you're thinking, oh, use all the track, it's faster. okay, you can get on throttle maybe slightly earlier, but you'll just be sliding and moving around, and you'll end up losing more time. You're taking way more distance. It doesn't work, okay? So this is as wide as we want to go. Try and bring the car back in here, back onto the rubber line. Prepare the car nicely for the second corner, or second real corner for us now. Just hang the car, bit tricky reference-wise, so the rubber is actually a really good reference, and there should always be some amount of rubber here on iRacing. So I kind of go, the rubber line's here, the right-hand side of the track's here, we're about just right of halfway across the track, and I'm aiming to meet the outside of the track here. That's my reference, let's say, for the entry for this next corner. Okay, the start of the curb on the right-hand side. So I just want to have a really soft angle here. So if I turned in, if I went tighter there, I'd have more lock, and I'd be coming in from this direction, and I'd make this corner a lot tighter, right? So I need to kind of soften the angle a bit, which is what I'm doing here. So I've almost got a straight line pretty much at this point from here to here, and that's what I'm aiming for. So I can have a little brake. The car's kind of straight there. Again, I'm on the grippier part of the track. Bleed off the brake. It's only a really soft brake here. Roll the speed. It's all about carrying momentum through this corner. Try not to be too aggressive. If you feel like the car's not turning in, you need to be a bit later or a bit harder on the brakes. If you feel like you're just steering and nothing's happening, it's just like kind of washing off, then sorry, as I said, you need to use the brake a bit more, turn it. But if you feel like you're getting snaps, then try and be a bit softer on the brake and a bit more progressive, and try and have the wheel straighter when you hit the brake. If you're too much lock on, you hit the brake aggressively here, you'll get a big old snap. Gentle on throttle, you can see part throttle. Again, I don't have to be the first to full throttle here. There's no long straight after this, okay? So that's why I'm just leaning on it, just trying to do two things really. Put the weight back onto the rear axle, which is going to give me some stability, a bit more control, and also just carry some speed. Pick the speed up, force the car out here. No track limits pretty much at VIR. So you can use all this runoff area. It's nice and grippy. Run all the way out to the grass, full throttle at this point, get the car back onto the tarmac, and about a car length later, there's no real reference here, so you could pick whatever you want. There's nothing really much to go off. I kind of go as late as I dare, looking into the apex, but just once you kind of get a car length in a straight line, after you get back onto the tarmac, you're going to hit the brakes. Short, hard hit the brake, okay? Pretty hard hit, down to third gear, cambered again. We're not going to worry about that. Slaughter this curb, take a lot of it. You can get like a slowdown for cutting it too much, but you have to get the floor of the car, so the middle of the car over the green and yellow. It's basically impossible in the F4. I mean, you can do it if you want, but it's not going to work so well in the F4 car. But for us, we're just trying to take all of this curb here. This is all about opening up the angle, because the exit of this right is immensely important for the long straight. We're basically flat after this left-hander onto the long straight. Okay, and it's an uphill straight as well. So this is super important for your lap time. So please keep this in mind. I was late on the brakes. Don't turn into it. If you turn in early for this corner, you're probably going to be in some trouble, by the way, because if you turn a bit early here, you're going to wash out wide here, and you make this tight, and then you've stuffed your whole exit. So please try not to be too early. Push the brake enough, rotate, get a nice angle, hook it on this curb. So you only want to leave the curb just at the end of it, yeah? You can see here, just at the end of that curb. I pick up some throttle. You can actually see on the curb, I've got a little bit of throttle on just to kind of steady the car, carry some momentum, keep it going. As I land, car lands quite nicely there. Full throttle. Try and open it up a little bit, and I should be able to take this flat. On this lap, I just kind of over-pushed, let's say, the left-hander a bit. So I'm like 89%, but lift the smallest amount that you dare. If this is easily flat out for you, so if you're going really slow through the left and this is easily flat out, you've got to pick up your speed in the left-hander. If this is like a massive lift for you, then you've got to prepare it more. It's one of those corners. There's a lot of these where ideally on a perfect lap, it's just flat, but in reality, you need to be pushing it in a way or making it tight enough in a way where it's on the limit of being flat kind of every lap. And that's the same for me here. I've slightly over pushed. I'm about 90% throttle at this point. Trying to pick up throttle again now. Use that right-hand curb to rotate the car. Force the car out to the left-hand side of the track. Do not run on this little grey curb on the left. That can drag you off. It's kind of off-cambered, easily to do in this car, and then you're going into that barrier. It's a one-way trip. It's not very good. Don't do that. So, full throttle now, up to fourth gear. Try to be as smooth as possible on the steering in this section, okay, from now on. Minimal steering lock. Just run that curb a little bit, straight line. Release the wheel, soft hands, yeah? Just try and carry the speed now. It's all done after that left-right. Straight line, reduce the distance, smooth the wheel. Don't need to take the curb. Smooth, straight line, smooth. Okay, now prepare the car. We need to bring it over to the right-hand side of the track here. So after that curb we just went past, hug the white line. Hold the white line on the right-hand side. Should be easy in this F4 car, no excuses. As you come over the crest, start to look into the corner now, look into the inside curb, braking softly. Again, hard to get a reference there. Just you got to judge the distance to the apex for yourself. Soft brake. It's just to get the nose in, just to help dive the front of the car, get some rotation going. Very, very smallest, let's say, coast period where you're not doing anything on the pedals. Ideally, we could use the brake, turn it more, get on throttle a bit earlier, but it just doesn't work. The car's going to be quite understeer here. That's just how this car is in high speeds, especially on lower wing. So, yeah, you just got to kind of deal with the fact that it's understeery, and with that, you just got to wait a fraction of a second to rotate the car there. Just as you hook the car onto this inside curb, smash that throttle. You can see, look how quick here I get to full throttle. As soon as I know I'm going to make this inside curb, full throttle now. Yep. And the reason why I'm doing that is the slower you get onto throttle, the more understeer you get, because you're kind of just like, blah, 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 blah. Whereas if you go full, it just energizes the rear of the car, initially at least. Just sets the car, and it obviously helps you pick up speed as well. We're in 6th gear here, so the car's bogging quite a bit already, so we need the torque, we need the power. Force the car out, smoothen the wheel, use all of this exit curb, and it's a bit weird, but use all of it. You can dip wheel on the grass and get away with it sometimes. Don't be afraid of that. Okay, straight away, don't be lazy. Classic, okay, just preparing for the next corner here. Easy lap time. Get to the white line by the 3 board on my left. Do that every time. It's not even a question. I know you're thinking about other things like, oh crap, I always crashed at the last corner, but we need to get back over to the left. So please do that. As you go over this crest, that's your cue to brake. Not before the crest. And this is already a really, really hard corner, right? Oak tree on this double right with the undulation and things like that. It's made much worse in every car you'll ever drive because of this hump on the braking point. Yeah, because if you're trying to learn it and get up to speed, you have to brake before the point. Let's say you'll probably start braking about here somewhere. And you're going to have to come out of the brakes as you go over this crest because the car's going to want to lock up. Whereas if you're really confident and you've practiced and you know the track well enough, and this is what you want to get to, you've got to brake after the crest. And it's a huge time gain. Huge, okay? So wait until you get over the crest. Now hit the brakes as straight as you can here. See, white line, I kind of point the car in a little bit. My wheel is dead straight at this point. Point towards this tree here, right? Point towards the kind of the rubber line in the middle there. All right. Straight braking, slow the car down a bit, down to 4th gear. Now, once I get into 4th, and just as I'm starting to reach this curb, I'm going to release the brake. I soften off the brake pressure. Super easy to lock up here. I was doing it on these laps a lot. Super easy to lock up. Okay, you can wind back the brake bias. That's great. But it's not going to help you everywhere else, right? So my advice to avoid the locking here is you just have to be a bit softer than you think. Like, it's such a long corner. You're not slowing down for this, right? It's for the next part of the right-hander coming up. It's such a long corner. You're going to benefit a lot more from like braking softly for a longer period of time than you are for smashing the brakes. And you don't need to do all the braking in this period. Okay, we want to be efficient as we can be initially when we hit the peak. But in this period here, if you drop to like 20%, it's okay. Trust me, be calm. It's okay. Just let the car run out and maintain that brake pressure. You have a long time to slow it down. See, I'm just holding like 10, 15, 20%, just trying to maintain it, avoid locking. Try to steer as little as possible. Okay, we don't want to run off the track, but again, run deep, run wide, be brave, trust the car. It's going to take a lot of practice, but just get that bit right. Okay, now I drop the brake now at the widest point. I've opened up the corner now, straight away onto throttle. If you don't get onto throttle here, you'll probably end up too tight. You don't want to take this curb that much. I just clip the inside bit here. It helps turn the car, but it kind of gives you a lot of wheel spin in the F4 car, so it can upset it quite a bit. So you don't need to take it too much. So that's what we want to try. The later we can be into that right-hander, the better. The smaller gap between when you get off the brake and as quick as you can get to throttle and straighten up on the exit, the better. All right, cool. So part throttle over the curb, and as you get over it, go full. The only reason full there is because I don't want to get wheel spin. Okay, to go part throttle to kind of pick the speed up and sell the car over the curb. Use all the runoff again, smooth on the wheel, open it up. At this point, do nothing. Just keep the wheel straight. You'll kind of move towards the white line now as the white line comes towards you. Stay on the right-hand side of the track and just do nothing for about 20 seconds. Not much to do here. yeah, you'll probably get a lot of overtaking done here in the race, good slipstreaming, stuff like that. All right, up to one of the hardest corners on the track. This left-right over the crest. Okay, so braking point for me after the two board, at least. Maybe start the two board and then work your way up because it's quite tricky. Uphill braking initially. So again, you want to maximize that initial braking. This is where you're going to get your most efficiency. So turn at the one board, brake just after the turn board that I've gone past there. Brake pressure, relatively hard there, relatively firm on the brakes. But as I'm turning, I'm going to have to come out. Okay, the tire's only got so much grip. I'm using a lot of that for turning the car now. The car's more loaded as I go around the corner, very loaded. Sorry. So I'm going to have to reduce my brake pressure, okay, not to lock up here. So as I straighten up again, reduce the brake pressure, and I get down to fourth gear, use all the track here as well. You see, that's why I come out of the brake because I'm turning. I could just go right, goes into a wall, or you tighten up the corner a bit. Not great, right? Better to just initially stop the car, come off the brake so you can open up this section. Now do more of your efficiency on the brakes now, okay? More of your braking, more of your work on the brakes is done now. Look, I'm harder on the brakes now than I was at the peak or initially. So just keep that in mind. Straight braking, down to third gear, off the brake, hook the car up on the right. This is the most important curve to touch on this lap, in my opinion. Well, apart from, that left, right, before back straight, but this is a very important curve to touch. You really need to use this to hook the car around. You can gain so much time from this. Off the curb, off the brake, onto the throttle very aggressively, carry the speed in third gear. Force the car should be forced out to the left-hand side of the track here. Smooth on the wheel. If you're smooth on the wheel, you shouldn't get any snaps there. Just be calm, okay? It's not complicated. Let the car out to the right-hand side. Really important to be here where this curve ends on the right-hand side of the track to open up this last section coming up now. Okay, flat out, fifth gear. Just lifting as you go over it. Very, very easy to get a penalty here. Today I didn't manage to get one, but very easy to get a penalty here by running, again, the middle of the halo. If that's left of this inside of the curb, you will get a penalty, get a slowdown, so watch out for that. This is pretty much the limit. But what I'm trying to do at this point is open up the corner as much as possible. So at the end of the curb, I want to be as far left as I can be to open up this right-hander onto the main straight here. Fifth gear, lifting a bit, and now I'm going to brake, okay? But I don't really want to brake until I get off that curb. It's just more stable then, okay? And it means I can brake a bit later as well. Brake, it shouldn't be that hard. Bit of a brake, roll as much speed as you can, as much speed as possible. Now you've opened up the corner, use the camber. You can take more of this curb. I find, you see the camber's kind of going the wrong way though. It can kind of push you away. The best thing to do is try and hook your right-hand side tires on this grey curb here. Land in the compression, bang, straight onto the throttle again. Force the car out, smooth on the wheel. Straight away here, I always think if I can just take off a bit of steering lock, you'll gain so much time, okay? Force the car out to the right-hand side of the track. Bring the car to the right now to shorten the distance. Hold the white line on the inside. And that's a lap at Virginia International Raceway. All right, then that brings us towards the end of the video now. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And you can also find the Coach Dave Academy Discord link in the YouTube video description. This is the last one for the season, guys. So I'll see you next season. I hope you enjoy the video. Bye-bye.